watch you leave. Sad boy in December, it's too cold to sleep. Lie awake thinking about you and me. I was way too proud to become what you need. Had to watch you leave. Sad boy in December, it's too cold to sleep. Lie awake thinking about you and me. I was way too proud to become what you need. Had to watch you leave. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Had to watch you leave. Sad boy in December, it's too cold to sleep. Lie awake thinking about you and me. I was way too proud to become what you need. Had to watch you leave. Sad boy in December, it's too cold to sleep. Lie awake thinking about you and me. I was way too proud to become what you need. Had to watch you leave. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Had to watch you leave. Sad boy in December, it's too cold to sleep. Lie awake thinking about you and me. I was way too proud to become what you need. Had to watch you leave. Sad boy in December, it's too cold to sleep. Lie awake thinking about you and me. I was way too proud to become what you need. Had to watch you leave. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Had to watch you leave. Sad boy in December, it's too cold to sleep. Lie awake thinking about you and me. I was way too proud to become what you need. Had to watch you leave. Sad boy in December, it's too cold to sleep. Lie awake thinking about you and me. I was way too proud to become what you need. Had to watch you leave. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Baby, I've been faded. Baby, I've been wasted. Had to watch you leave. Sad boy in December, it's too cold to sleep. Lie awake thinking about you and me. I was way too proud to become what you need. Had to watch you leave. Sad boy in December, it's too cold to sleep. Lie awake thinking about you and me. I was way too proud to become what you need. Had to
Good morning, good afternoon, good morning. I said good morning twice. Hello, everybody. I apologize for being only 4 minutes late to my own stream. Yes, only 4 minutes. It was only 4 minutes of a delay. This stream was scheduled to happen at this time and not any earlier. I promise you that. Who's this mystery guy? Hello, Taffy. You don't know Lord Fangsworth? My Alexa was trying to get the attention. You don't know Lord Fangsworth? It is I, Lord Fangsworth. Hello. Hello there, Seagull. How are you doing? Oh, let's say hi to everybody in chat, alright? Say hi to all the Fangsters in chat. I'm not sure if you're still here, but if you're here, hello Joanna. Hello Non-chan. Hello Eva. Piao. Hope you're all having a wonderful evening. Taffy, Kugamis, hello. You like my stash? Thank you, Seagull. It is something that I'm very proud of, my stash. You have to forgive me, I might be yawning here and there, just because I did just wake up from a nap. I was trying to get some rest in. I might have been working a little bit too much lately and well, not working. More so that I've been staying up late, sometimes working, but sometimes trying to play Warhammer 40k Darktide and leveling up my character so I can take care of all the rascals that feed me. Well, hello there, Kozlania Kia. Thank you for popping into the channel. Nice to meet you, Mr. Fangsworth. Where's Xander, though? We are one and the same. Xander and I, we are one and the same. Xander today is taking a little bit of a break, and his alter ego, Lord Fangsworth, which is I, which is the better alter ego, is here to keep you guys company. And if you guys don't appreciate my company, then you'll feel free to leave. Am I keeping Xander in the basement? We are one and the same, Taffy. If you ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, right, or ever watched the Yu-Gi-Oh, the anime, where Yugi and Yami, they switch their personalities based on the Millennium Puzzle. That is the same thing as me and Xander. We just don't have a Millennium Puzzle. We kind of just switch and we'll call it magic. Xander versus Lord Fangsworth, who wins? Is that even a question? That's a very silly question, Kozlania Kia. If Xander personified himself, or if I personified myself, whoever's in charge of the body at the moment, the other personified themselves, no matter what it might be, I would have trounced Xander easily. You don't seem to understand the power of Lord Fangsworth, of me. Lord Fangsworth is godly, otherworldly. Xander is very tethered, but me, I'm not tethered. What a silly question you all like to ask. My lord is so cute. I appreciate that, Eva. See, Xander might get flushed, but me, I understand when a compliment is a compliment. How do I understand? Because I get compliments all the time. Are you kidding me? Look at me, listen to me. I am Lord Fangsworth, and there's nothing that you shouldn't revere about me, and everything you should be worshipping about me. Reindeer head's cute. It seems when I was summoned into the body, Xander had put on these silly little horns, these silly little dongles on his head, but that's fine. I'll keep them on. It's too much of a hassle to remove anyways. Tethered, is Xander tied up in your basement? Well, downstairs is a wine cellar, not a basement. But no, Xander's not tethered up there. Xander is simply within. We switched today. Tie you up instead. You want to be tied up, Non-chan. That can be arranged. We have all kinds of different ropes. I am not new to tying knots, and if you want to be restrained and subdued, that is something that I'm not a stranger to. All this talk of Xander being in the basement makes me want to read Cask of Amontillado. Cask of Amontillado, I don't think I've quite heard of that. Let me ask my assistant. Alexa, what is the Cask of Amontillado?
From fandom.com. Often
Alexa,
dropping directly
Alexa,
from high altitude and straight down
Alexa,
onto a target.
Stop. I forgot that this was supposed to be a whisper stream. Alexa, what is the Cask of Amontillado?
The cast of the entitled includes Kevin Seacrest, Victor Garber, Laura Vandervoort, Evan Bostic, Dustin Milligan, Tatiana Maslany, and Stephen McGaddy.
She didn't quite understand what I was saying. I was asking her what the book is, but I guess she thought I said cast. Let me try that again. Alexa, what is the Cask of Amontillado?
For casket of Alolan, the closest I can find.
Alexa, silence yourself.
Yourself.
Well, that did not work too well, unfortunately. But that is what it is. Oh. Yes, please, Kugamas, tell me about it. I've never heard of Cask of Amontillado. I, Lord Fangsworth, I have been around for quite some time, but there are things that I do not know. There are things that I haven't learned about yet. You sat up in my head. How big is my head? I have a large head for a very large brain, encompasses a very large brain. What you see on the screen does not actually represent to scale the size of my head nor my brain. If you look at the earth, my head is probably double that. The soil which you are standing on, my head is probably double the size of that, the circumference of the brain. Even Lord Fangsworth is having trouble with Alexa. There are times when this silly robotic assistant does not listen, and it does not surprise me. Can you touch my reindeer horns? Very well. Let me lean down a little bit towards you, chat. If my horns touch you, that would count as you touching my horns. Oh, this is silly little. Oh, I suppose I cannot reach further enough. It seems that on this virtual screen I can only bend such a certain amount. Close enough, though. It's a short story by Edgar Allan Poe, where the main character chains this guy in the basement with the lie that he had a cask of Amontillado. Is a cask of Amontillado, is that a wine, or is that, what is that? Can you touch my hands? Surely you jest. Touching these silly little ornaments on my head, that much I can allow, but to grant you, sir, apologize, I tripped on my tongue there, but to grant yourselves the privilege of touching my hand, or having your hand on my body, any part of my body, or I cannot grant that. You have to prove yourselves worthy first. You'll kneel for me. I want you to bow and prostrate yourself on the ground. And you're going to like it when I use you as a rug. That's right, Lord Fangsworth steps on all of those. All those who, if you worship me, then you're doing the right thing, that's all I can say. We shall all kneel before you. Kneel, bow, lay on the ground. As long as you all understand your place is beneath me, then that's all that matters. Thank you, Eva. Crawling. You do not need to crawl, but you can just move normally while kneeling. Actually, I suppose you would have to crawl. You'll bark. I'm not a fan of dogs. You're going to bark. You all a bunch of dirty mutts trying to bark now. Meow. I'm not a fan of cats either. I'm not really fond of animals. You'd have to understand. Cuck. The only pets I keep around are my human thralls. After many decades, centuries of being a vampire, I've accumulated some humans who were a little less than obedient, let's say. So we break them. I break them. Their mind, their body, their spirit. And they become my pet and they belong to me. And that's gonna happen to you very soon, chat. Maybe not now, maybe not this stream, but another stream in the future, most likely. Hello, Joanna. What happened? What did you miss? You didn't miss much. We're just here by the fireplace in the manor side, hanging out, having a good chat. We're all your pets, that's correct. I'm glad you understand. Very soon I will subjugate everyone in chat here and assimilate you guys into being my little slaves, my pets, my thralls. You're going to serve me for all of eternity, and you are all going to like it, least to say. How do you become my wife? You're kind of greedy. No, that's insanely greedy. You wish to have Lord Fangsworth's hand in marriage, and you wish for Lord Fangsworth to have yours. There is no being worthy of being my wife. We'll make that very clear. Shannon, darling, you're great. You make a great rug, a great carpet, but you would not make a good wife, not for Lord Fangsworth. There is too much that is required of an individual to become my wife. Seagulls, ribbit, ribbit. Are you a frog? A toad? Why are you a frog, toad? Can we get head pats if we do good? I might consider it. It's not something that I would normally give, but I might consider it. To pet you all and treat you like good little boys and girls. Grab your hair. Like I said, you do not deserve my touch. It's gonna take a lot more than your begging and your pleading for me to do what you want. I apologize. Can I beat you up? What is wrong with you, chat? You all seem to have some kind of indulgence for pain. Taffy, if I am to harm you and beat you up, it would not be with physical means. You understand Lord Fangsworth is an otherworldly being, right? I have an arsenal of powers that I can use to harm you, destroy you. I can break you from the inside, rupture your organs, your lungs can be pierced. As a vampire, I can control blood. I am a practitioner in blood magic and the arts. And I can freeze or burn or whatever you want for your blood. Whatever you can imagine I can do. And explode you. Sounds like heaven, please do it. You guys think that the reverse psychology would make me not want to do it, or you might truly believe that you want to be harmed, but I assure you, you do not. And Chad, you are lucky that today I am feeling benevolent. And I'm choosing to not destroy you guys. Destroy the chat here. You guys are lucky that I'm not trying to thirst for blood, and I don't have a pendant for violence today. Penchant for violence, I apologize. Pardon my French. I'm your soul medicine when you're sick. Of course, Piao, I hope you're feeling better. I understand you've been caught with a case of what is that? That recent sickness and illness that's been what you call it? It's been plaguing the humans lately. It's been an ailment that caused a whole worldwide pandemic recently. I believe it's called COVID. I heard that you have a case of that. Make sure you drink a lot of water and you sleep a lot. Get a lot of rest. You wouldn't want that to hurt you. COVID. Imagine being destroyed by a plague or an ailment. Ridiculous. Destroy you, Eva. In what way would you like to be destroyed, chat? Maybe I will indulge in your fantasies for a little bit. Chat, tell me what you want Lord Fangsworth to do to you. Are there things you want me to say, you want me to do? I guess I don't spend that much time with you guys. You want me to spit on you? In every way possible. I'll need some descriptors. What do you mean, every way possible? How do you want to be destroyed? How do you want to be broken? Do you want me to break your joints, break your back, spit on you? Do you want me to choke you? You want me to physically harm you, break your insides? Would you want your bones to be crunched, broken? You want your chest to be split open? You want... Let me tell you, chat, we're going to go through what I used to do back in my day. Yes, I'm sure you already know. I've been saying it. I am an otherworldly being. Lord Fangsworth is an otherworldly being, and I have lived quite a long time as an alter ego of Xander's. I have done many things in my time, and there was a time when I was a ruler, and not so benevolent ruler, and I would conquer and pillage and destroy. Those are my pastimes, those are my hobbies. And the likes of what I would do to those that oppose to me. I would use my blood magic, freeze their veins, boil their blood, right after, cause combustion through the temperature, and they would explode at their bodies. And sometimes when I did not feel like using my magic, there would be times when I would go up to whichever human life form or being that did not want to obey me, did not want to respect the way that I handled things, the way I ran my country and my kingdom. A lot of my prisoners would be tortured, and the very unlucky ones would be tortured by me personally. My large hands would grasp their throat. I would choke them, lift them by just the chin alone. Sometimes I would physically abuse their bodies. There would be times when I would punch them right in the stomach, or punch them right in the side into their abdomen, cracking a few bones, because the human body is very fragile. There'd be other times when I would rope their legs and their arms together, and I would tie them long enough that, or tie them tight enough, I apologize. There'd be times when I tie the arms and legs tight enough that the rope would cause their joints to dislocate. Are these the type of things you want me to do to you? Because the humans back in those times did not want those to happen to them. Lord Fangsworth, my cat has been summoned by your stories. I think she has a new Oshi. I'm glad that your kitten is fond of my stories. I am just but an old man, reminiscing about the old days, talking about way back when, in those times when it was simpler back then. Now, these days, it just seems like you can't really conquer everything by force anymore. Well, you can, but there are those who can fight back. There are, through the means of not physical resistance, but this new thing called the internet. It's a little bit difficult to grasp my head around. And a lot of these are there. Oh, hello, Violet. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today, Violet? Fancy to see you here, Uncle. I'm surprised that you consider me your uncle. I've never really thought about expanding my family before. Nor did I have any desire to expand my family. But enough about me, chat. Why don't we talk a little bit amongst ourselves? This was supposed to be just a short chat by the fireplace. If it's just me doing all the talking, that doesn't seem very chatty of me and of us. Let me see. What topics can we discuss? Well, let's firstly go with, do you all have any plans for the upcoming holidays? It is Christmas after all. Any stories, any interesting stories about Christmas? I have one, but I'll allow you all to go first. Allow me to hydrate myself. For those of you in chat tuning in, make sure that you are eating or drinking something. You love Christmas. I'm glad you do, Pierre. You'd rather spend time with me than I might be able to, oh no, this Christmas I would not be around, so we cannot spend time together. I apologize. Read some books, eat food, and sleep. That sounds like a very comfy time, Joanna. You just found some mayonnaise under your sister's bed. cakes, I'm not sure what to tell you. I think that might not be mayonnaise. You should try smelling it. If there's a pungent smell, right? If it's a pungent smell and the smell is a little, the taste might be a little salty as well instead of mayonnaise, which is typically a little more sour and sweet at the same time, a little more buttery and airy. I would not advise tasting the so-called mayonnaise that's found under the bed. You'll eat food with your family while waiting for your return. Thank you, Eva. I appreciate that. I know it's not often that Lord Fangsworth, pop in here and talk to you all, but it is a amicable time, I would say. I would say I'm having a decent amount of fun right now. Old Mayo Taffy, I've heard about you from Xander. You should not be consuming everything that you see. It's not a healthy way to, it's not a healthy way to feed your body. I know the human body is very fragile, and eating things like old candy, expired candy, 2-week-old cake, those things are not healthy for you. I mean, I could care less of what you do with your body, but I'm just advising you that is not a good idea. You want my mayonnaise. I assume you're here to talk about my seed, and unfortunately, nobody is worthy of Lord Fangsworth's seed. Your stomach is unstoppable. Nothing you eat will make you sick unless it does. It's very sound logic, Taffy. Very sound logic. You know what? I admire that. The lack of fear is actually really good. I apologize. I tripped on my words there. The lack of fear is very admirable of you, even though you are of such a weak race, the human race. But you know, you are great. Maya is watching. Thank you for popping by. How are you? You're scared, apparently. Oh, Yochi, I did not even notice you are here. You're here to save Non-chan. What is going on? What are you saving Non-chan from? Yes, thank you to you both for popping into this chat. How are your days going? Or your nights? It might be evening for some of you, I believe. Whatever it might be, I hope it is going well. Yes, but I did promise you all about a story for Christmas. So, you all know I've lived quite a long time ago. I was alive and around at the time of the conception of Christmas. I was there when the holiday became a thing, and I watched it transpire and become what it is today. Celebrated holidays for humans all around the world, for them to spend time together. Okay. Can you ask why you're becoming food? You're not becoming food. I think you are all just, unless you want to be eaten by me, but I'm not hungry right now, so you are all safe. I think we were just simply talking about eating expired food or old food and why it's not good. Because Taffy Matt here seems to have a tendency to do that, and it is not good. Right then. So, let me tell you the story of Christmas and how the holiday came to be. Long ago. Wait, let's get some... Actually, no, we'll keep the fireplace backing track. So long ago, when I was a mere 50 years old. There was a large round man, a large fat man, This is the man that became to known as Santa Claus. You see, he dressed in all red, and he was a human that owned a toy shop, a toy factory. My voice is it goes really well with me. Thank you, Maya. I appreciate that. This man was eventually known to be Santa Claus, but this man, he owned a toy factory, or a small toy shop, ran from his home. And he had an ambition. He wanted to give toys to children all over the world as gifts when it becomes cold. Because when it snows outside and the weather gets cold, it is hard for a lot of these humans to survive. A lot of them will pass away from being unable to handle the temperature. Some of them are unable to what does this talk about becoming food? Well, I'm trying to tell the story. Let us all be pets and food for our Lord Fangsworth. If you insist, I might actually catch a bunch of you and keep you all locked in the cellar. If that is truly what you insist. Because I can do that, and I can keep you as reserve food supply for myself. Actually, no, there's no point in doing so. You all understand that the moment that I return this body back to Xander, he will just release all of you, because he's a soft, kind-hearted vampire, which is unheard of these days, but you know, I am sharing his body. He is letting me use his body as a vessel, so I had to learn to be a little bit appreciative of the benefits and privileges he lends to me. But continuing on what I was saying. Yes. So this man, we'll just call him Santa. He didn't become Santa Claus yet, and that's not his real name, but he was known eventually to be Santa. He decided to, as a show of goodwill and charity, he would create toys and send them off to families, starving children around his town, his village, every winter. And he did that before just to become a good Samaritan, I suppose. He really wanted this season to not be as sad. You see, before Christmas was a thing, and I've observed for hundreds of years, before Christmas was a thing, there was very little to celebrate during the winter season, and in most cases the winter season was just a time of panic, of strife, of suffering. A lot of humans, a lot of their families would struggle putting bread on the table because the winter weather and the snow and the low temperatures made it difficult for them to continue to harvest their crops. It made it difficult for their livestock to continue living. So the livestock and the crops would die out over the course of the winter, leaving these humans with little food, leaving these humans with little wool or blanketing. It becomes cold for them as well. They are not able to stay warm, right? And that's what happens. They can't go out and chop firewood because it's too cold to do so. They might freeze. And so they could not stoke the fires in their homes, and they could not stay warm. Such was the reality of the winter back then. I, being a vampire, I had no issue surviving in these temperatures, in these conditions. So I looked upon them and watched. But this one man would do his best to find something enjoyable every winter in his village. And although he did not make a lot of impact in his life, he did make others want to be like him. So when this man who owned the toy factory, he was his contributions to his community did earn him enough recognition, enough fame for him to produce a larger factory, hire workers, and his, let's say, his form of celebration of this cold weather, his pageantry was passed on from him to his employees, his workers, his colleagues, and more of them started to be like him. And as this phenomenon of being happy, of finding something to celebrate within the darkest times of the year for most people, because back then not a lot would make it past winter, was spread throughout further from his community into other towns and villages. They started to be calling this holiday Christmas. And a lot of other gentlemen, such as the original Santa Claus, would, do their best to give gifts and get a spirit of giving. And that, my dear chat, is how Christmas became a thing. I've observed for many years as the holiday developed and the traditions changed, and there are no more Santa Clauses. That lineage died out long ago, but the spirit is honored even to today. Yes. Now, Chad, let me ask you, what are your favorite parts of Christmas? Is there anything in particular that you all enjoy of Christmas? You did good for listening. You know what? Oh well, I will give you all some head pats then. Yes, your shush. Here we go. You've all been good. You've all been good. During this time of season, I suppose there was something I admired of that Santa fellow. I had to become a little more benevolent and a little more friendly, I suppose. Hello, Kyotepes. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're enjoying your stay, your night, your evening, whatever it might be. Today was just supposed to be a very relaxed, chill stream. This is just me, Lord Fangsworth, talking to you all next to the fireplace about your dreams. Let me read you all a story, some Christmas stories. Let me find something. Christmas story. Christmas story for you all, and we can read those. This seems like a very long story. Oh, this is a very, very long story. I'm not sure if I should be reading this. It might take a while. Gotta be right back? Of course, Shannon, take your time, darling. Alright, I found it. I found the story. So this is The Elves and the Shoemaker. I've read this story before. It's a story that I'm much fond of. But let me read this for you all. The Elves and the Shoemaker. There was once a shoemaker who worked very hard and was very honest, but still he could not earn enough to live upon. And at last all he had in the world was gone, save just leather enough to make one pair of shoes. Then he cut his leather out, all ready to make up the next day, meaning to rise early in the morning to his work. His conscience was clear, and his heart light amidst all his troubles, so he went peaceably to bed, left all his cares to heaven, and soon fell asleep. In the morning, after he had said his prayers, he sat himself down to his work, when, to his great wonder, there stood the shoes already to be made, already made upon the table. The good man knew not what to say or think at such an odd thing happening. He looked at the workmanship. There was not one false stitch in the whole job. All was so neat and true that it was quite a masterpiece. The same day a customer came in, and the shoes suited him so well that he willingly paid a price higher than usual for them. And the poor shoemaker, with the money, bought him leather enough to make 2 pairs more. In the evening he cut out the work and went to bed early, that he might get up and begin betimes next day. But he was saved all the trouble, for when he got up in the morning the work was done ready to his hand. Soon in came buyers, who paid him handsomely for his goods, so that he bought leather enough for 4 pair more. He cut out the work again overnight and found it done in the morning as before, and so it went on for some time. What was got ready in the evening was always done by daybreak, and the good man soon became thriving and well off again. One evening about Christmas time, as he and his wife were sitting over the fire chatting together, he said to her, "I should like to sit up and watch tonight, that we may see who it is that comes and does my work for me." The wife liked the thought, so they left the light burning and hid themselves in a corner of the room behind a curtain that was hung up there and watched what would happen. As soon as it was midnight, there came in 2 little naked dwarfs, and they sat themselves upon the shoemaker's bench, took up all the work that was cut out, and began to ply the little fingers, stitching and wrapping and tapping away, at such a rate that the shoemaker was all wonder and could not take his eyes off them. And on they went till the job was quite done, and the shoes stood ready for use upon the table. This was long before daybreak, and then they bustled away as quick as lightning. The next day, the wife said to the shoemaker, "These little wights have made us rich, and we ought to be thankful to them, and do them a good turn if we can. I am quite sorry to see them run about as they do, and indeed it is not very decent, for they have nothing upon their backs to keep off the cold. I'll tell you what, I will make each of them a shirt, and a coat, and a waistcoat, and a pair of pantaloons unto the bargain, and do you make each of them a little pair of shoes." The thought pleased the good cobbler very much, and one evening, when all things were ready, they laid them on a table instead of the work that they used to cut out, and then went in themselves to watch what the little elves would do. About midnight in they came, dancing and skipping, hopped around the room, and then went to sit down to their work as usual. But when they saw the clothes lying for them, they laughed and chuckled, and seemed mightily delighted. Then they dressed themselves in the twinkling of an eye, and danced and capered and sprang about as merry as could be, till at last they danced out the door, and rolled away into the green. The good couple saw them no more, but everything went well with them from that time forward, for as long as they lived. And that is the story of the elves and the shoemaker. Hope you enjoyed it all, chat. And I hope I managed to put some of you back to sleep and back to rest. So today was just supposed to be a short, comfy stream. I am myself starting to feel a little bit tired now. More. You want more stories? We'll tell one more then. No, it's fine, Eva. I'm happy to tell one more, and then I will probably allow myself to go back to the wistful cold of my bed afterwards. Let's see. What story is there to be? Let me read these. A lot of these stories don't seem to have a proper link for me to find them and actually read. Actually read them with. Let me see. Alright, I found the proper link. There we go. This story is called A Christmas Dream and How It Came True. Alright, let's get yourselves into a comfy position. Get your blankets wrapped around you as we get ready to tell this story. I'm so tired of Christmas. I wish there would never be another one, exclaimed a discontented-looking little girl as she sat idly watching her mother arrange a pile of gifts 2 days before they were to be given. Why, Effie, what a dreadful thing to say. You are as bad as old Scrooge, and I'm afraid something will happen to you, as it did him, if you don't care for dear Christmas, answered Mama, almost dropping the silver horn she was filling with delicious candies. Who was Scrooge? What happened to him? Asked Effie. With a glimmer of interest in her listless face as she picked up the sourest lemon drop she could find, for nothing sweet suited her just then. He is one of Dickens' best people, and you can read the charming story someday. He hated Christmas until a strange dream showed him how dear and beautiful it was and made a better man of him. I shall read it, for I like dreams and have a great many curious ones myself, but they don't keep me from being tired of Christmas, said Effie, poking discontentedly among the sweeties for something worth eating. Why are you tired of what should be the happiest time of all year? Asked Mama anxiously. Perhaps I shouldn't be. Perhaps I should not be if I had something new. But it is always the same, and there is not any more surprise about it. I always find heaps of goodies in my stockings. Don't like some of them, and soon get tired of those I do like. We always have a great dinner. and I eat too much and feel ill the next day. Then there is a Christmas tree somewhere with a doll on top, or a stupid old Santa Claus, and children dancing and screaming over bonbons and toys that break and shiny things that have no use. Really, Mama, I've had so many Christmases all like that, I don't think I can bear another one. And Effie laid herself flat on the sofa, as if the mere idea was too much for her. Hello, Kay. Hello, Kai. Welcome into the stream. Oh, it's Renji. Hello, Renji. How are you? Thank you for popping in today. Why so serious? You're scared. There's no need to be scared. I'm not too serious. We're just reading some comfy Christmas stories right now. But we will be ending in a little bit here, for I am starting to feel tired, unfortunately. You made it. I'm glad you made it, Renji. I hope you're having a good night. Let's continue. Her mother laughed at her despair, but was sorry to see her little girl so discontented when she had everything to make her happy, and had known but 10 Christmas days. Suppose we don't give you any presents at all. How would that suit you? Asked the mother, anxious to please her spoiled child. I should like one large and splendid one, and one dear little one, to remember some very nice person by, said Effie, who was a fanciful little body full of odd whims and notions which her friends loved to gratify regardless of time, trouble, or money, for she was the last of 3 little girls, and very dear to all the family. Well, my darling, I will see what I can do to please you, and not say a word until all is ready. If I could only get a new idea to start with. And Mama went on tying up her pretty bundles with a thoughtful face, while Effie strolled to the window to watch the rain that kept her indoors and made her dismal. It seems to me poor children have better times than the rich ones. I can't go out, and there is a girl about my age splashing along without any maid to fuss about rubbers and cloaks and umbrellas and colds. I wish I was a beggar girl. Would you like to be hungry, cold, and ragged, to beg all day and sleep on an ash heap at night? Asked Mama, wondering what would come next. Cinderella did, and had a nice time in the end. This girl out here has a basket of scraps on her arms and a big old shawl around her, and does not seem to care a bit, though the water runs out of the toes of her boots. She goes paddling along, laughing at the rain and eating a cold potato, as if it tasted nicer than the chicken and ice cream I had for dinner. Yes, I do think poor children are happier than rich ones. So do I, sometimes. At the orphan asylum today, I saw 24 merry little souls who have no parents, no home, and no hope of Christmas beyond a stick of candy or a cake. I wish you had been there to see how happy they were playing with the old toys some richer children had sent them. You may give them all mine. I'm so tired of them. I never want to see them again, said Effie, turning from the window to the pretty baby house full of everything a child's heart could desire. I will, and let you begin again with something you will not tire of, if I can only find it, said the mother, as she knit her brows, trying to discover some grand surprise for this child who did not care for Christmas. Hello, Hui-san, welcome back. Back to this stream. Oh, you... Cakes, you asked your sister what the mayonnaise under the bed was, and she yelled at you. Did you ever find a conclusive understanding to what it was under the bed, though? Because it's very strange. Nothing more was said then, and wandering off to the library, Effie found a Christmas Carol, and curling herself up in the sofa corner, it all before tea. Some of it she did not understand, but she laughed and cried over many parts of the charming story, and she felt better without knowing truly why. All the evening she thought of poor Tiny Tim, Mrs. Cratchit with the pudding, and the stout old gentleman who danced so gaily that his legs twinkled in the air. Presently bedtime arrived. "Come now and toast your feet," said Effie, "while I do your pretty hair and tell you stories." "I'll have a fairy tale tonight, a very interesting one," commanded Effie, as she put on her blue silk wrapper and little fur-lined slippers to sit before the fire and have her long curls brushed. So Nursie told her best tales, and when at last the child would lay down under her lace curtains, her head was full of a curious jumble of Christmas elves, poor children, snowstorms, sugar plums, and surprises. So it is no wonder that she dreamed all night. And this was the dream which she never forgot. She found herself sitting on a stone in the middle of a great field, all alone. The snow was falling fast, a bitter wind whistled by, and the night was coming on. She felt hungry, cold, and tired, and did not know where to go nor what to do. "I wanted to be a beggar girl, and now I am one, but I don't like it, and wish somebody would come and take care of me. I don't know who I am, and I think I might be lost," thought Effie, with a curious interest once taken oneself in dreams. But the more she thought about it, the more bewildered she felt. Faster fell the snow, colder blew the wind, darker grew the night, and poor Effie made up her mind that she was quite forgotten and left to freeze alone. The tears were chilled on her cheeks, her feet felt like icicles, and her heart died within her, so hungry, frightened, and forlorn was she. Laying her head on her knees, she gave herself up for lost and sat there with the great flakes fast turning her to a little white mound. When suddenly the sound of music reached her and started up, she looked and listened with all her eyes and ears. Far away, a dim light shone, and a voice was heard singing. She tried to run toward the welcome glimmer, but could not stir, and stood like a small statue of expectation while the light drew nearer, and the sweet words of the song grew clearer. A child's voice sang. A child's hand carried the little cradle, and in the circle of soft light it shed, Effie saw a pretty child coming to her through the night and the snow. A rosy, smiling creature wrapped in white fur with a wreath of green and scarlet holly on its shining hair. The magic candle in one hand and the other outstretched, as if to shower the gifts and warmly press all the other hands. Effie forgot to speak as this bright vision came nearer, leaving no trace of footsteps in the snow, only lighting the way with its little candle and filling the air with the music of its song. "Dear child, you were lost, and I have come to find you," said the stranger, taking Effie's cold hands in his with a smile like sunshine, while every holly berry glowed like a little fire. "Do you know me?" asked Effie, feeling no fear but a great gladness at his coming. "I know all children, and go to find them, for this is my holiday, and I gather them from all parts of the world to be merry with me once a year." "Are you an angel?" asked Effie, looking for the wings. "No," responded the child. "I am a Christmas spirit, and live with my mates in a pleasant place getting ready for a holiday, when we are let out to roam about the world, helping make this a happy time for all who will let us in. Will you come and see how we work?" "I will go anywhere with you. Don't leave me again," Effie cried gladly. "First, I will make you comfortable. That is what we love to do. You are cold and you shall be warm. Hungry and I will feed you. Sorrowful and I will make you happy. With a wave of his candle, all three miracles were wrought, for the snowflakes turned to a white fur cloak and hood on Effie's head and shoulders. A bowl of hot soup came sailing into her lips and vanished when she had eagerly drank the last stop. And suddenly the dismal field changed to a new world so full of wonders that all her troubles were forgotten in a minute. Hello, Cap. Welcome to the stream. Nice to meet you. Recently became a fan. Well, I hope you enjoy your stay. Thank you for becoming a recent fan. How's your day been, Cap? I hope you are having a good one. Bells were ringing so merrily that it was hard to keep from dancing. Green garlands hung on the walls, and every tree was a Christmas tree full of toys, and blazing with candles that never went out. In one place, many little spirits sewed like mad on warm clothes, turning off work faster than any sewing machine ever invented, and great piles were made ready to be sent to poor people. Other busy creatures packed money into purses and wrote checks with which they sent flying away on the wind. A lovely kind of snowstorm to fall into a world below full of poverty. Older and graver spirits were looking over piles of little books in which the records... Oh shoot, I lost my place in this story. Give me a second here. Where did I leave? There we go. Some got peace, some disappointment, and some remorse and sorrow, some great joy and hope. The rich had generous thoughts sent them, the poor gratitude and contentment. Children had more love and duty to parents, and parents renewed patience, wisdom, gratitude, and contentment. Children had more love and duty to parents, and parents renewed wisdom and satisfaction for and in their children. No one was forgotten. Please tell me, what splendid place is this? Asked Effie, as soon as she could collect her wits after the first look at all these astonishing things. This is the Christmas world, responded the child. And here we work all the year round, never tired of getting ready for the happy day. See, these are the saints just setting off, for some have far to go, and the children must not be disappointed. As he spoke, the spirit pointed to 4 gates, one of which 4 great sleighs were just driving, laden with toys, while the jolly old Santa Claus sat in the middle of each, drawing on his mittens and tucking up his ruffs for a long, cold drive. Why, I thought there was only one Santa Claus, and even he was a humbug, cried Effie, astonished at the sight. Never give up your faith in the sweet old stories, even after you come to see that they are only the pleasant shadow of a lovely truth. Just then the sleighs went off with a great jingling of bells and pattering of reindeer hoofs, while all the spirits gave a cheer that was heard in the lower world, where people said, "Hear the stars sing." I will never say that there isn't any Santa Claus again, said Effie. Now show me more. You will like to see this place, I think, and may learn something here, perhaps, the Christmas spirit said. He smiled and led the way to a little door through which Effie peeped into a world of dolls. Baby houses were in full blast, with dolls of all sorts going on like live people. Waxen ladies sat in their parlors elegantly dressed, black dolls cooked in the kitchens, Nurses walked out with the bits of dollies, and the streams were full of tin soldiers marching, wooden horses prancing, express wagons rumbling, and little men hurrying to and fro. Shops were there, and tiny people buying legs of mutton, pounds of tea, mites of clothes, and everything dolls use or to wear or want. Oh, you got to know me from hiding and fell in love. Looking for the club. Thank you, Cap. Yes, I'm looking forward as well. It's going to be very fun. But presently she saw that in some ways the dolls improved upon the manners and customs of human beings, and she watched eagerly to learn why they did these things. A fine Paris doll driving in her carriage took up a black worsted Dinah who was hobbling along with a basket of clean clothes, and carried her to her journey's end as if it were the proper thing to do. Another interesting China lady took off her comfortable red cloak and put it around a poor wooden creature done up in a paper shift, and so badly painted that his face would have sent some babies into fits. Seems to me I once knew a rich girl who didn't give her things to poor girls. I wish I could remember who she was and tell her to be kind as that China doll, said Effie, much touched by the sweet way the pretty creature wrapped up the poor fright, and then ran off in a little grey gown to buy a shiny fowl stuck on a wooden platter for her invalid mother's dinner. We recall these things to people's minds by dreams. I think the girl you spoke of won't forget this one. And the spirit smiled as if he enjoyed some joke which she did not see. A little bell rang as she looked, and away she scampered the children into a red and green schoolhouse with a roof that lifted up, so one could see how nicely they sat at their desks with the mites of books or drew on the inch-square blackboards with crumbs of chalk. They know their lesson very well and are still as mice. We make a great racket at our school and get bad marks every day. I shall tell the girls that they had better mind what they do, or their dolls will be better scholars than they are, said Effie, much impressed as she peeped in and saw no rod in the hand of the little mistress, who looked up and shook her head at the intruder, as if begging her to go away before the order of the school was disturbed. Effie retired at once, but could not resist one look in the window of a fine mansion where the family were at dinner. The children behaved so well at the table and never grumbled a bit when their mamma said that they could not have any more fruit. Now, show me something else, she said, as they came again to the low door that led out of Dollland. You have seen how we prepare for Christmas. Let me show you where we love to best send our good and happy gifts, answered the spirit. I know. I've seen ever so many, began Effie, thinking of her own Christmases. But the spirit hushed her. No, you have never seen what I will show you. Come away and remember what you see tonight. Like a flash, that bright world vanished, and Effie found herself in a part of the city she had never seen before. It was far away from the happier places where every store was brilliant with lights and full of pretty things, and every house wore a festival air, while people hurried to and fro with merry greetings. It was down among the dingy streets where the poor lived, and where there was no making ready for Christmas. Hungry women looked in at the shabby shops longing to buy meat and bread, but empty pockets forbade. Tipsy men drank up their wages in the barroom, and in many cold dark chambers little children huddled under thin blankets trying to forget their misery and sleep. No nice dinners filled the air with savory smells. No happy trees dropped toys and bonbons into eager hands. No little stockings hung in rows beside the chimney piece ready to be filled. No happy sounds of music, gay voices, and dancing feet were heard, and there were no signs of Christmas anywhere. Don't they have any in this place? Asked Effie, shivering as she felt the spirit's hand falling where he led her. We come to bring it. Let me show you our best workers, said the spirit, and he pointed to some sweet-faced men and women who came stealing into the poor houses, working such beautiful miracles that Effie could only stand and watch. Some slipped money into the empty pockets and sent the mothers to buy all the comforts they needed. Others led the drunken men out of temptation and took them home to find safer pleasures there. Fires were kindled on cold hearths, tables spread as if by magic, and warm clothes wrapped around shivering limbs. Flowers suddenly bloomed in the chambers of the sick. Old people found themselves remembered. Sad hearts were consoled by a tender word, and wicked ones were softened by the story of him who forgave all sin. But the sweetest work was for the children, and Effie held her breath to watch these human fairies hang up and fill the little stockings without which a child's Christmas is not perfect, putting in things that once she would have thought very humble presents, but which now seemed beautiful and precious, because these poor babies had nothing. That is so beautiful. I wish I could make Merry Christmases as these good people do, and be loved and thanked as they are, said Effie, softly, as she watched the busy men and women do their work and steal away without thinking of any reward but their own satisfaction. You can if you will. I have shown you the way. Try it and see how happy your own holiday will be hereafter. As he spoke, the spirit seemed to put his arms about her and vanished with a kiss. Oh, stay and show me more, cried Effie, trying to hold him fast. Darling, wake up and tell me why you're smiling in your sleep, said a voice in her ear. And opening her eyes, there was Mama bending over her, and morning sunshine streaming into the room. Are they all gone? Did you hear the bells? Was it not splendid? She asked, rubbing her eyes, looking about her for the pretty child who was so real and sweet. You have been dreaming at a great rate, talking in your sleep, laughing and clapping your hands as if you were cheering someone. Tell me what was so splendid, said Mama, smoothing the tumbled hair and lifting up the sleepy head. Then, while she was getting dressed, Effie told her the dream, and Nursey thought it was very wonderful. But Mama smiled to see how curiously things the child had thought, read, heard, and seen their day were mixed up in her sleep. The spirit said I could work lovely miracles if I tried, but I don't know how to begin, for I have no magic candles to make feasts appear, and light up groves of Christmas trees as he did, said Effie sorrowfully. Yes, you have. We will do it, and we will do it. And, clapping her hands, Mama suddenly began to dance all over the room as if she had lost her wits. How? You must tell me, Mother, cried Effie, dancing after her, and ready to believe anything is possible when she remembers the adventures of the past night. I've got it. A new idea. A splendid one if I can only carry it out. And Mama waltzed her little girl around till her curls flew wildly in the air, while Nursey laughed as if she would die. Tell me, shrieked Effie. No, it is a surprise. A grand surprise for Christmas Day, sung the Mama, evidently charmed with her happy thought. Now, come to breakfast, for we must work like bees if we want to play spirits tomorrow. You and Nursey will go out shopping and get heaps of things while I arrange matters behind the scenes. They were running downstairs as Mama spoke, and Effie called out breathlessly, It won't be a surprise, for I know you're going to ask some poor children here and have a tree or something. It won't be like my dream, for they had ever so many trees and more children than we can find anywhere. There will be no tree, no party, no dinner in this house at all, said her mother. And no presents for you. Won't that be a surprise? She laughed at Effie's bewildered face. Do it. I shall like it, I think, and I won't ask any questions. So it will all burst upon me when the time comes, she said, and she ate her breakfast thoughtfully, for this really would be a new sort of Christmas. All that morning, Effie trotted after Nursey in and out of shops, buying dozens of barking dogs, woolly lambs, and squawking birds, tiny tea sets, happy picture books, mittens, and heads, dolls, and candy. Parcel after parcel was sent home, but when Effie returned, she saw no trace of them. Though she peeped everywhere, Nursey chuckled, but would not give a hint, and went out again in the afternoon with a long list of things to buy. While Effie wandered forlornly about the house, missing the usual merry stir that went before the Christmas dinner and evening fun. As for the mother, she was quite invisible all day, and came in at night so tired that she could only lie on the sofa to rest, smiling as if some very pleasant thought made her happy in spite of her weariness. Is the surprise going all right? Asked Effie, anxiously, for it seemed an immense time to wait till another evening came. Beautifully, better than expected, for several of my good friends are helping, or could not have done it as I wish. I know you will like it, my dear, said her mother, and long remembered this new way of making Christmas merry. The mother gave her a very tender kiss, and Effie went to bed. The next day was a very strange one, for when she woke there was no stocking to examine, no pile of gifts under her napkin, and no one said Merry Christmas to her, and the dinner was just as usual to her. The mother vanished again, and the nursey kept wiping her eyes and saying, "The dear things, it's the prettiest idea I ever heard of. No one but your blessed mother could have done it." "Do stop, nursey, or shall I go crazy because I don't know the secret," cried Effie. More than once, and she kept her eye on the clock, for at 7 in the evening the surprise was to come off. The longed-for hour arrived at last, and the child was too excited to ask questions when the nurse put on her cloak and hood, led her to the carriage, and they drove away, leaving their house, the one dark and silent one in the row. I feel like all the girls in fairy tales who are led out to strange places and see fine things, said Effie in a whisper as they jingled through the streets. "Ah, my dearie, it is like a fairy tale, and I do assure you, and you will see finer things than most children will tonight. Steady now, and do just as I tell you, and don't say one word whatever you see," answered Nursey, quite quivering with excitement as she patted a large box in her lap, and nodded and laughed with twinkling eyes. They drove into a dark yard, and Effie was led to a back door to a little room, where Nurse coolly proceeded to take off not only her cloak and hood, but her dress and shoes also. Effie stared and bit her lips, but kept still until out of the box came a little white fur coat and boots, a wreath of holly leaves and berries, and a candle with a frill of gold paper around it. A long "oh" escaped her then, and when she was dressed and saw herself in the glass, she stared back, exclaiming, "Why, Nancy, I look like the spirit in my dream." "So you do, and that's the part you ought to play, my pretty," said the nurse. "Now, while I blind your eyes and put you in your place." Effie whispered, "Shall I be afraid?" But she was full of wonder, for as she went out she heard the sound of many voices, the tramp of many feet, and in spite of the bandage, She was sure a great light shone upon her when she stopped. You needn't be. I shall stand close by and your ma will be there. Oh, hello, Indy. It's very cold this year. Yes, it is very cold this year. It's getting quite cold. Make sure that you're all staying dressed and well insulated and you stay warm. Hello, Mediva. Hello. Welcome to the stream. We're just in the middle of a story. After the handkerchief was tied about her eyes, the nurse led Effie up some steps, placed her on a high platform where something like leaves touched her head, and the soft snap of a lamp seemed to fill the air. Music began as soon as the nurse clapped her hands. Their voices sounded nearer, and the tramp was evidently coming up the stairs. Now, my precious, look and see how you and your dear ma have made a Merry Christmas for them that needed it. Off went the bandage, and for a minute Effie really did think she was asleep again, for she actually stood in a grove of Christmas trees, all shining as in her vision. 12 on a side, in 2 rows down the room, stood the little pines, each on its low table. And behind Effie, a taller one rose to the roof, hung with wreaths of popcorn, apples, oranges, horns of candy, and cakes of all sorts, from sugary hearts to gingerbread jumbos. On the smaller trees, she saw many of her own discarded toys and those nursery pots, as well as heaps that seemed to have rained down straight from that delightful Christmas country, where she felt if she was again. How splendid! Who's it for? What is that noise, and where is my mother? Cried Effie, pale with pleasure and surprise as she stood looking down the brilliant little street from a high place. Before the nurse could answer, the doors at the lower end flew open, and in marched 24 little blue-gowned orphan girls, singing sweetly, until amazement changed the songs to cries of joy and wonder as the shining spectacle appeared. While they stood staring with round eyes at the wilderness of pretty things about them, Mama stepped up beside Effie, and holding her hand fast to give her courage, told the story of the dream, in a few simple words ending in this way. So my little girl wanted to be a Christmas spirit too, and make this a happy day for those who had not as many pleasures and comforts as she has. She likes surprises, and we planned this for you all. She shall play the good fairy and give each of you something from this tree, after which every one of you will find her own name on a small tree, and can go to enjoy it in her own way. March by, my dears, and let us fill your hands. Nobody told them to do it, but all hands were clapped heartily before a single child stirred. Then, one by one, they came to look up wondering at the pretty giver of the feast, as she leaned down to offer them great yellow oranges, red apples, bunches of grapes, bonbons, and cakes until they were all gone, and a double row of smiling faces turned towards her as the children filed back to their places in the orderly way that they had taught. Hello, Ame Samael. Welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoy your stay. Then each was led to her own tree by the good ladies who had helped Mama with all their heart, and the happy hubbub that arose would have satisfied even Santa Claus himself. Shrieks of joy, dances of delight, laughter, and tears. For some tender little things could not bear so much pleasure at once, and sobbed with mouths full of candy and hands full of toys. How they ran to show another one the new treasures, how they peeped and tasted, pulled and pinched until the air was full of happy noises, the floor covered with papers and the little trees left bare of all but candles. I don't think heaven can be any gooder than this, sighed one small girl, as she looked about at her in a blissful maze, holding her full apron with one hand, while she luxuriously carried sugar plums with the other. "Is that a truly angel up there?" asked another, fascinated by the little white figure with a wreath on its shining hair, who in some mysterious way had been the cause of all this merrymaking. "I wish I dared to go and kiss her for this splendid party," said a lame child, leaning on her crutch, as she stood near the steps, wondering how it seemed to sit in her mother's lap, as Effie was doing while she watched the happy scene before her. Effie remembered her, and remembering Tiny Tim, ran down and put her arms about the pale child, kissing the wistful face as she said sweetly, "You may, but my mother deserves the thanks. She did it all. I only dreamed about it." Lame Katie felt as if a true angel was embracing her, and could only stammer out her thanks while the other children ran to see the pretty spirit and touch her soft dress, until she stood in a crowd of blue gowns laughing as they held up their gifts for her to see and admire. Mama leaned down and whispered one word to the older girls, and suddenly they all took hands to dance around Effie, singing as they skipped. It was a pretty sight, and the ladies found it hard to break up the happy revel. But it was late for small people, and too much fun is a mistake. So the girls fell into line and marched before Effie and Mama again to say good night with such grateful little faces that the eyes of those who looked grew dim and with tears. Mama kissed everyone, and many a hungry childish heart felt as if the touch of those tender lips was their best gift. Effie shook so many small hands that her own tingled, and when Katie came, she pressed a small doll into Effie's hand, whispering, "You did not have a single present, and we had lots. Do keep that. It's the prettiest thing I've got." "I will," answered Effie, and held it fast until the last smiling face was gone. The surprise all over, and she safe in her own bed, too tired and happy for anything but sleep. "Mother, it was a beautiful surprise, and I thank you so much. I don't see how you did it, but I like it best of all the Christmases I ever had, and I mean to make one every year. I had my splendid big present, and here's the dear little one, to keep for the love of poor Katie, so that even part of my wish came true." And Effie fell asleep with a happy smile on her lips, and her one humble gift still in her hand, and a new love for Christmas in her heart that never changed through a life spent in doing good. The end. To be honest with you, chat, that story was a lot longer than I expected. Cap, you're still learning English, which is your weak point, so that you can talk to everyone. You're doing great, Cap. I believe it's even more difficult for me to learn Japanese. I'm hoping that one day I'll be able to learn enough that I can converse with Heine and my other siblings very well. Alright, chat. I'll probably be ending this stream a little bit later, or just in a little bit here, but let's chat for another 10 minutes or so, shall we? For all those that came by, thank you so much for popping by, and I'm sorry that I might have missed you while I was reading the middle of the story. For those that popped in the middle of the story, can you please just say something so I can address you properly? You passed out before the stream. I did as well, Indy. The stream was supposed to start around 3.5 hours ago, but I was sleeping a little bit. Thank you for the stories, of course, darlings. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed the stories. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you so much, Cap. I love you as well. Thank you for all the hearts. You guys are amazing. You're so relaxed now. Darlings, there's no need to die. You're waiting on Twitch. I saw that. I did see that, Renji. That's fine. Now you are aware. I do stream on the YouTube every now and again, occasionally. Twitch will usually keep to softer streams, more chill streams. Maybe competitive gaming will be on Twitch, but a majority of my streams, story-centric gaming, will be on YouTube, so yes. Can you scold me? Very well. I'm feeling generous, so I think I will scold you now, Non-chan. Why have you been so bad, Shannon? Always disobeying and always not listening and being a little brat. You are too proud of that title, and you need to learn to be put in your place. You draw a lot. You do. I hope I get to see some of your drawings, Cap. I would love to see your art at some day in the future. You'll kneel now. Bow. Put your head to the floor so we can be stepped on. Alright, but I will end the stream here. We'll be doing the Christmas karaoke tomorrow. But thank you everyone for tuning in today, and I hope you all have an excellent night. Oh, you need head pats before you sleep. Very well. Of course, Eva, Piao, both of you. Head pats here. There you go. Kisses as well. Being a little greedy, but you're lucky that I'm feeling generous. It must be the holiday spirit. This is for all of you, chat. There. 2 kisses. That's a lot from Lord Fangsworth. It's probably 2 more than you'll ever get in your lifetime. Alright. Alright. So, thank you again, Fangsters, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the stories. I'm glad we had a comfy chat by the fireplace. Xander will be singing some Christmas karaoke streams, and he'll be dropping his new original song tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. And we will most likely not oversleep because tomorrow is a much more important stream. Anyways, Fangsters, remember to eat well, sleep well, stay hydrated, and have a fantastic night, morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever it might be for you. Oh Yasumi, good night, good night. I love you all.
I don't want you leave.